Now he's going to laugh. Can you hear me now? Have we got audio? Have we got audio working? Can you hear us? Hello, everyone. Just confirm you can hear us. Give us a thumbs up or a yay you can hear us in the comments, just so that we know you can hear what we're saying. We managed to get the delay down to about 10 seconds this week. You should be able to hear what we're saying now, all being well. So, hi Robin, hi Susan. Hopefully you can hear us. Way we can hear. Awesome. So I did unmute the microphone this week, but I'd forgot to turn the microphone on. So it was unmuted, honest Robin. I did listen to you and make that point in my checklist. But another point now needs to be make sure the damn thing's switched on. So welcome back, folks, to another West UK Weekly. I am managing to figure out all the problems with how to run a live show and the things to remember. Joining me this week is Robin's spitting image, minus the tie. Take note, Robin. No ties this week. This is a chap called Tim Buick, for those of you who couldn't hear a word we were saying a minute ago.
Evening.
And Tim is responsible for a website called Streetpin. On top of that, he's a pretty nice chap as well, so that helps. And one of the things we're going to be talking about tonight is actually, in fact, you know what? Are you responsible for single-handedly killing your own high street? This is what we're going to be talking about tonight, because I reckon some of you have got some questions that need answering. You've got a lot to answer for, some of you. And if you're a retailer, you probably hate people like me who shop online for everything and buy practically nothing in the high street. So one of the things, if you're a retailer or you're thinking of opening a retail store, or you've been in retail for many years and you see the shape and the layout of your high street changing, stick around, because we're going to cover some interesting things tonight that can actually benefit you, and some of the things Tim's doing that can really get you and your local fellow high street retailers working well together. But yeah, so we're talking about high street retail tonight. Good evening, Pete. How you doing? Thanks for coming back. I'm not drunk, honest. I've been trying to drink bottles of Cowpole to get rid of this cough. So, retail high street and loving your high street. What have we got up there, Tim?
So, what's the show about?
Yeah, so what is our show all about? Our show is all about helping small businesses to get their message out there and to become a bit more known. This show is a business show, it's an IT show, and it's aiming to help people with websites as well. And hopefully along the way, one of the things that I want to do, one of my aims with this show, is to give some love to a wonderful charity called the Diagramma Foundation. Now this is the Diagramma Foundation. So did you see how smooth that was?
I did.
It's good, isn't it?
Very.
So this is the Diagramma Foundation's website, and they're a wonderful charity who do a lot of work, foster work for vulnerable young adults and people in need of foster care. So if we can get to 1,000 subscribers, then we can start taking some live chats and give them some money as well. So if you're watching this without subscribing, shame on you. Subscribe, cost you nothing, and you can get some great, wonderful free information out of it as well, hopefully. And maybe a few giggles along the way as well. Depends how much he laughs at my jokes. So that's the Diagramma Foundation. And what we're talking about today, tickety-boo, thanks. Happy days, happy days. It's good to see everyone's still alive after the food at the dog track we had last night, actually.
Is it bad?
Yeah, they should not be selling food in the high street, that's for sure.
Was it bad?
It wasn't the kind of food that you'd want to eat twice.
Hot dogs, burgers?
If you can call them that. I mean, they were shaped like burgers and hot dogs, but that's another story.
Was that the loser of the race?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it was the South Korean dog racing. Last dog round the track goes on the menu.
Moving on.
So moving on. So that's what our show is about, and hopefully we're going to share some love with the Diagramma Foundation as well, if we can get some subscribers up. But one of the questions that I want to ask you today is, how many high street shops in 2019 closed down? How many of you actually know how many high street stores shut in 2019 last year? Because the number is quite alarming, isn't it? It's certainly not the sort of number that you expect a fluctuation in high streets.
Yeah.
Some shops come, some shops go, and things change over the years. But this sort of number, it's quite shocking when you sit and look at it. And Tim and I were just looking at this earlier on this evening. And when you start looking at the numbers, and there are different reports, not every website and not every report shows the same number, but they all show roughly to the nearest few thousand.
Yeah.
I've almost given the answer away, don't I? 15, but probably 30. Oh no, what, 30,000? No, 30 shops. Yeah, we wish it was 30. That would be awesome. But the number of shops that shut down in 2019 is quite alarming.
Yeah.
And even our own high street here down in West Wickham, some of the shops that have closed down there, they've been closed for a long time, and there's no sort of sign of them being regenerated or.
Yeah.
Is that the right word, regenerated?
Yeah.
Tim's the retail expert. He does all this stuff with retailers, and all I know is I just keep walking past the shops and they haven't got anything I want. But the amount of shops that shut down last year is quite frightening. So one of the things we're going to cover today is hopefully a really good beneficial way that retailers can give more to their customers and find ways to work together. Because much like this show, if I just sat here and chatted nonsense on my own for an hour, there wouldn't be an audience. I'd get a letter from YouTube saying, stop, just don't do it anymore. Just
cease and desist.
Yeah, cease and desist letter from YouTube. Like, this is rubbish, just stop it. But like I was saying to Tim, when there's two of us on the show, it almost brings the power of 3 or 4. It's much more funny, much more amusing, and much more engaging as well. So in exactly the same way, retailers need to wake up to this and start realising actually, when they start working together, they actually have so much more, almost the power of an entire shopping centre when they start working and talking together. Is the problem that high streets are controlled by massive retail brands, so they make a bigger hole when they go? Yeah, some do. Some of the retail stores were absolutely massive.
Yeah.
And some of them, when they do disappear, because of the size of their premises, it does leave a humongous hole. I mean, here in Croydon, what's the big one by the flyover?
Alders went.
Yeah, when Alders, that was what, 4 or 5 stories high?
That was huge.
That was massive.
Yeah.
And when that shut down, it was just, I think, is it still empty now?
It was obviously servicing such a big need. The people will come in, they'll say, right, I'll get my clothes there, I'll get my... if it's like Marks and Spencer's in Orpington, when that sort of closed down, it was just right. You can get clothes there, you can get your food there, and that sort of thing. And it was just when something big like that goes, it does have a knock-on effect.
Yeah. Well, it does. It does. It also, not only does it have a knock-on effect in terms of leaving a hole in the high street and the amount of people that are out of work, it actually makes the high street look a lot worse than it is as well.
Yeah.
Especially the bigger the premises that's left empty, it almost makes the high street look a bit derelict, doesn't it?
You need to have hooks for shoppers. You need to say, right, okay, if you're going to shop in the high street, I'll go to this one, this one, this one, this one. If you don't have the pool of all the independent knowledge and different types of
Susan says, bring back Woolworths. She cried when Alders shut.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
Should we go on to our next point?
Yeah, so on that note, Susan, what is the current state of your high street? Where you live right now, what does your high street look like? Tell us in the comments while we're on air, and we can get a feel for what people's high streets look like. Because where we're based, my office is based in West Wickham, and the high street here, it's odd, to say the least. It's a mishmash of restaurants, food outlets, charity shops, and now I think the 5th or 6th barbers has just opened up. So it's a great place to go eat and get yourself cleaned up.
Yeah.
But not much else.
Yeah.
And if you want
missed a bit.
Yeah, if you want a new wardrobe, then you're going to get someone else's used goods.
Yeah.
But that's really all we've got here.
Yeah,
we don't really have much. And in the 5 years that we've been in West Wickham now, the high street really has... I mean, we had a huge Starbucks when we came here, and it's massive. And even they shut down. He said, well, if Starbucks can't survive, what the hell's going on?
I think Starbucks shut down in Orpington as well. So just for your reference, I sort of my local high street is Orpington, which has had a bit of a checkered past. I don't know if you remember a Honda advert, and there was like a tumbleweed and some sort of a bit sort of third worldy looking sepia toned advert.
That wasn't filmed in West Wickham High Street, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was just this Honda advert, and it said, "You just happen to live in Orpington." It was just like, this was just obviously local big news.
Yeah.
Orpington's been slated by a global car manufacturer.
Honda does Orpington down.
Yeah. But then Daily Mail, I think, jumped on the bandwagon, or they did it beforehand, and they just called it Charity Shop High Street.
Yeah.
In terms of
Well, that's what this is feeling like around here.
Yeah.
West Wickham is starting to feel like it's just charity shops, food, and somewhere to get your hair cut.
It's so in terms of the way that shoppers are evolving and stuff like that as well, because of such an online presence and the ease of getting things delivered. You can get things delivered in an hour these days, and
especially with places like Deliveroo and stuff, right?
This is it.
You're hungry. You ain't even got to go, you've only got to go as far as your front door now.
Yeah. So. Deliveroo, Just Eat, Uber Eats, that sort of thing. Down the high street, everything is swarming. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, it's just mopeds everywhere. But in terms of it, the high street is sort of transitioning into more of a service-led rather than product-led offering. So you've got 10 hairdressers or something like that. In Orpington, I think we've got about 10 hairdressers. Every other shop is a restaurant, or which are opening and closing all the time. There are some that stay there, and some that sort of a bit of a white elephant that seems to change every sort of 6 months, that sort of thing. But it's very much sort of service. So it's one of the huge things that the bid did, the Orpington bid, was get an Odeon coming in, and that's one of the things that really drives footfall. So people come in.
That's quite a venture to have in your high street, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So not many places have got an Odeon.
Orpington used to have one.
If you're in America watching this, an Odeon is what we call a cinema. Okay, it's where we watch TV on the big screen together in a group.
I think about 30 years ago there was an Orpington cinema, but that closed down. But I think that's that's done wonders for the high street. But it still needs a big push. My daughter's 12, so we've just started giving her
commiserations, mate.
We've just started giving her a little bit of
12-year-old and female as well. He's got his work cut out.
I've got two, but the 12-year-old is now
not many hairs left that are not grey anymore.
No,
that's what it does for you.
So she now gets the bus down to the high street, and she loves it. So a new generation. She would go to somewhere like Peacock's, and she could sort of.
I've heard of that shop.
And so
my mum buys her clothes there.
Yeah, and so and I think like Claire's Accessories, I think they might have closed, but little bits and pieces, knick-knack shops and stuff like that. And I think because it's a new venture and get a bit of freedom, she can go out there. But if there was no Peacocks, then it would be just I'm going out for something to eat. If there's no shopping involved.
Yeah, there's not much else to do, so you just eat, come home, and then that's it. But yeah, so what we got here? So yeah, Pete says Dartford is dire, Gravesend is faring better. Gravesend, yeah, Dartford's Dartford's an odd area because you've got the M25 going right through it, and a lot of commercial industrial stuff are down there. I mean, the high streets down there are not the high streets that I've seen down in Dartford. They're a bit scarce. I can't say I've ever been down Dartford High Street because I don't know where it is.
No, I don't know.
But I'm guessing because of the fact that it's so industrial, it's not. I know Dartford's not the cleanest of places to hang around, so it's not going to be the most. It's not going to be the most affluent or pleasant of places to chill out. Like if you go somewhere like Greenwich is a little bit industrial, but there's a lot more green spaces. It's a lot nicer. But yeah, I can't imagine Dartford being on my top 10 list of places to go and hang out and do some retail shopping, unless of course you go somewhere like Bluewater, which is. But then I've been to Bluewater twice, and the first time I went, I vowed never to go again, and the second time I went, I vowed never ever to go again.
Third time you'll be lucky.
It's too much. It's just how much of this stuff do you want to get stuck into in one place? You just especially. And this is obviously the difference now between men and women. So the ladies that are watching will understand this, and the guys watching will definitely understand this. When we go shopping for something, we know each other what we want before we've even left the house. So we go, we get it, we come back, job done, happy days. When women want something, then we're going to get killed for saying this now. you generally know what you want, but you'll spend bloody hours trying to find it or looking at all the different variations of stuff. So that's really annoying.
But we're not stereotyping.
Yeah, we're not stereotyping at all. It's just just casual observations from our own experience, of course. But yeah, what else we got? So we're getting a pie and mash shop. Susan says we're getting a pie and mash shop. Oh, that sounds good. That's in Selsdon, right? Yeah, Selsdon. I've spotted Selsdon. It's full of nail salons and takeaways. So yeah, it's definitely the place to get your fingers done before you stick them into some food. Starbucks is part of a bigger problem with retail. Yeah, Starbucks shops are quite big. They don't generally open very small shops. So when they do pack up and leave, they do generally leave quite a hole in the high street, don't they?
But these are, as in, they are affiliates, so they're franchises, and so.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. So
See, I didn't know that.
They're, as in, so someone like if you have a McDonald's in Orpington or
I know McDonald's are franchisees.
As far as I know, Starbucks is
franchisees
But yeah, a lot of these big corporates are franchises. So
Right.
someone has, I think McDonald's, you have to pay, I don't know, 60, 70, 100 grand to actually own that premises.
Yeah,
and
chap
get
I
it
used to
decked out.
cycle with owned a McDonald's in Orpington or something like that, Bromley.
So I know people see it as a big US giant.
No
That's killing
coincidence,
stuff.
he was quite a big bloke.
But as in, they're still, someone has saved up and they've gone and
Well, it's
said,
a huge
this is my
investment, isn't it?
business. This is my business. This is
Yeah.
what I'm doing.
It's a
Yeah.
massive investment. It's almost like MLM marketing, but on a retail scale.
Yeah.
Buying into the business, as it were. And that's a ton of money to invest
It
as
is.
well.
It is. You have to go on courses as well.
Well, yeah, because you've got to make sure
Courses,
that you
yeah.
do things their way rather than your
Yeah.
way. But yeah, so getting on those retail fronts, like Pete said, when the corporate ones, Richard, that's a rubbish generalisation. Is it rubbish? No. I'm sure there's plenty of blokes out there who spend hours and hours shopping for stuff too, and there's women who go straight in, get what they want, and leave.
I think we should move on from the.
I just haven't met any yet. That's all. But I'm sure they're out there. Woolwich is dying. It was waiting for a crossrail. Yeah, the last time I went to Woolwich, it didn't look. Well. There's a lot of green space in Woolwich, and obviously there's the high street down there is not massive. Green Robins, but they don't. I believe the majority of Blue Water's business comes from outside the borough. Yeah, a lot of people travel far and wide to go to Blue Water. It's an attraction in itself, the fact that it's so humongous and there's so much stuff in one place. But good luck finding your car once you're finished. But in terms of retail and the high street, and the current state of your own high streets, what have we got at this point too?
So we've got to go down memory lane.
Yeah.
Memory lane.
Yeah, so if you guys were to take a trip down memory lane right now, what were your favourite stores that you had in the high street when you were younger, or when you were kids? What sort of stores did you like to go shopping in? Because for me, my fascination was always places like Woolworths, Pick and Mix and Lego. That was my two things.
I've got OCD now. I didn't have it as a kid. I would be more worried about picking up all those Pick and Mix sweets.
Oh,
that
God,
everyone
yeah.
else is- Oh.
Yeah, can you imagine now having Pick and Mix? You'd be like, yeah, gloves. You wouldn't want to touch it now, no?
No, we were just talking about earlier. So I asked my daughter to go get a CD or a DVD, and in the high street, the only place that sells them, I think, is now Tesco's. And so, we used to be able to go in DVDs and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
And it's just that sort of thing is now evolved to just downloading and stuff like that. But in terms of
Well, yeah, streaming now has pretty much killed the DVD.
yeah.
I saw an Xbox for sale the other day. Microsoft have released a new one. Doesn't even have a DVD slot on it. Every single game is streamable. I was like, what do you do if you've got a big shelf of games? You can't play them.
Don't know. We were talking about the ones that have gone, things like...
Inside an hour of 25% of the UK population. Yeah, indeed. Pete says Blue Water and Lakeside in Thurrock, it takes less than an hour to get to them for 25% of the population. So it's serving the masses, really, isn't it? It's how can you get as much as possible to as many as possible, as cost effectively as possible, I guess.
Yeah.
Although I can imagine the rents in those places are not cheap, right?
No.
Because you're paying for the fact that everyone knows that you're there.
Yeah. Rent and rates is one of the biggest killers. So if you've got a shop selling clothes, and then if they're selling the same things that you can get online, they're not paying any rental rates.
No.
and then you're paying quite extortionate amounts of them. And then we also have the key things like parking, and there are various other things that are just going to hit the online.
That's quite
the actual in store.
That's quite a controversial issue for high streets as well, like your local high streets like West Wickham and Orpington and Beckenham and stuff. Parking is a killer.
Yeah.
Because the retailers are struggling to survive, but the councils are seeing them as cash cows for people who want to come and visit, and it's really unfair.
Yeah.
Like down West Wickham, you've got about a dozen parking spaces, and it's just red route the whole way through. Even through those parking spaces, you look up and it just says no stopping 7 till 7. So you think, well, when are the shops supposed to make any money?
Yeah.
They're not going to open at 7 o'clock at night. So where the hell do people go? And there are car parks, but you have to know where they are, because if you don't, you're going to have a hard time finding them. What estate people like that? Yeah, CD's a last century's invention. Might as well try and sell 75 RPMs. Yeah, you can. You might as well. Yeah, it is. CDs are very last century, as are DVDs. Even Blu-rays. They didn't last very long, did they?
No, we bought one.
Blu-rays just sort of went, hello, goodbye.
Yeah, just never used it.
Yeah, I looked at Blu-rays for a little while and thought that'd be nice. And by the time I figured out, well, I might get one, they were gone. So, that didn't last 5 minutes. Bit like the mini disc, really. It came along and everyone went, yeah, mini disc, and a few years later, that was it. It was out. The high street has to modernise and offer compelling products or experiences to consumers. At the moment, I don't believe they do. Yeah. I'm inclined to agree with him. So that's from Pete Brassey saying that high streets these days, they're not providing us with anything that makes us go, you know what, I'm off down the high street. I know exactly what they've got.
It's one of my main points in terms of the only way that high street retailers can compete is by bringing that experience. They've got the advice, the knowledge. It could be sights, smells, sounds. You can really control that. Things like if you had one of the biggest casualties of the high street is travel agents and that sort of thing. I don't think you'll find a travel agent on most high streets because it's so easy to do online. But if
there's a lot of competition for that.
There is, absolutely. But
certain coloured brick websites and whatnot going on.
But if you had things like a Spanish night, come and see, have some sangria, and we'll show you this is the hotel. Do 360 views of the rooms and all that sort of thing. If it's the experience, people will buy into that, and they can talk to each other and collaborate and stuff like that. And so, organising events and having a theme and having a focus, getting people involved. That experience is going to be where you can really win in the high street against someone that just says, right, click because you like this picture of a beach,
I do like going into the pet shop down the road because it's really big.
Does it stink?
It stinks of animals in it. It's great. It's a really nice shop to go into because it smells of animals, but you can't take the dog in there with you because he's going to pick up everything. It's going to cost you an arm and a leg on the way out the shop. It says, excuse me, your dog's got 5 toys in his mouth. Can you pay for those?
You buy it.
And he's eaten 2 bags of food while he's here. But yes, there are certain shops that I know that are up there that I want to go into, and I do go into them fairly often. I take the little fat sausage with me up there.
That's his dog, by the way.
No, that's me. That's the dog takes the fat sausage up to the shop to buy him some toys. So thinking about how our high streets are currently working, tell us a bit about some UK shopping habits at the moment, Tim, because I know you've done a lot of research into this, right?
So I just thought I just put a couple of stats out there. So in terms of the
30 minutes parking in Selsdon. Yeah, if only every high street had 30 minutes free parking. That would make things so much easier for everyone.
And plenty of availability.
Yeah, I get it that you don't want people parking there all bloody day, but at least let us, if I go to the shop and get 15 kilo bag of dog food, how am I supposed to cart it 300 yards down the road to the car park? Yeah. And I could probably do with a bit of exercise, but that's another show for another day.
So in terms of, I dug out some stats, and this is, I guess, a word to the wise in terms of the high street retailers. If you don't sort of understand what the shoppers are doing, what devices they're using, what sort of their method of interacting and stuff like that, then you can't compete. You can't. You need to be engaging with how they are actually looking to shop.
So you got to know your enemy, right?
You do
know your customer.
And one of the things I always say is that if you say this is the way I've always done it, you're onto a loser. You've got to keep changing. You've got to keep evolving, try new things. But
there's a radio shop in the high street here. And it's only a little tiny shop on the corner. And he sells like DAB radios, fairly small TVs, nothing amazing, and little just gadgets and knickknacks, the sort of stuff you think, nah. Or, you know, the alarm clock radio. How many of those do you've got to sell a week? And you do wonder. I've never ever seen anyone in there.
Yeah.
And a few times I've walked past during the day and I see one person in there, and I realise it was the owner. And you thought, how is that shop still there? How is he still paying his rent? And I mean, unless he's been there for 100 years and he bought the shop cash or whatever. But
or he's laundering money.
But unless it's a criminal front for some other activities that are going on that I won't accuse him of because I don't know the guy. If you see this, right, I don't know you. I'm talking about a shop somewhere far, far away.
So a couple of stats. So 72% of consumers that perform a local search will visit a store within 5 miles of their current location. So in terms of, if you look at some of the Google stats, so many things have got like something near me. So you'll say barbers near me, dog shop near me, that sort of thing. And so 72% of people that do that will actually come and visit a store within 5 miles. So you've got to be sort of SEOs and bits and pieces. 78% of local mobile searches result in an offline purchase. So this, according to these stats, we'll share these in the show notes where they came from. But in terms of 78% of local mobile searches actually result in someone going into the shop themselves. So generating footfall. Have a look on your phone.
High, isn't it?
It's fantastic in terms of
that's a very high number.
If you're engaging on this, so if you really sort of say, make sure your site can be found when people are searching for something. If they're searching on Facebook, if they're searching on Google, where is my nearest?
And this is obviously retailers that have got websites, got information for people to find.
So many people down the high street won't have a site, or if they do, it just it's static, and all it has is their opening hours.
I've heard that a lot from retailers. There's a retailer that I go to in over in Bromley, a model flying shop. He sells model airplanes and stuff. Not that I'm interested in any of that stuff. And there's no clues, honest.
Look over my shoulder.
Don't. And the amount of times I've seen like his website, not through any fault of his own, it's just literally a stagnant page that just says, here's the shop opening hours and our phone number. And the amount of times I've said to him, why is there, you walk into the shop, it's an Aladdin's cave of modelling stuff and radio control stuff and just toys for grown-ups, if you like. And the amount of times you just think, man, if everyone in the world could see this, you wouldn't be able to keep up with the orders. And it's like you say, that it's just that, I don't know if it's lack of technical knowledge or a lack of will to do it, or like you said earlier, that thought of, well, we've never worried about it before, so we won't bother. And like Pete said, if we're not evolving, you kind of get left behind. And the amount of times I've had that conversation with the guy, and it is a sad state that some people are really missing out on a trick there. Because the amount of times I've looked for stuff and gone, wow, that shop down the road in Bromley's got it, and I'll get in the car and go. But quite often, like you say, quite often I do look for stuff. Where can I get it now? Rather than wait for the courier to come tomorrow.
Absolutely. So I'll just give a couple more. So more than half of UK consumers, so 55%, prefer buying local. Buying local can mean can have a number of different incentives, but a lot of people are really proud to buy local in terms of, I'm supporting the guy who I see in my school.
Hi Stefan,
playground.
welcome to the show, Stefan. Glad to have you on again. Glad you made it. Sorry, Tim.
Buying local is keeping people that you see down the pub or in the school or in your church or anything
Is that like, you want to buy a watch? You want to buy a watch?
Probably avoid those ones. They're probably not local.
That's a bit too local, right?
Yeah. So so in terms of the want and the desire is there. Generally, more than half of the people in the UK would like to be shopping local rather than going to some of these American behemoths, tax dodgers.
Tax dodgers? What are you suggesting, Tim?
Well, there's not a lot of
I'm
tax.
sure they pay some tax somewhere, right?
Not to the UK. People, there is a need and a desire to do it. Yeah. So I think
I totally
they
get
just need
that,
to make it easy.
I totally get that, because the amount of times I've tried to look, I've wanted to buy stuff locally, but nowhere sells anything.
Yeah.
Like you say now, because it's all generic sort of food, barbers, nails, and I don't want my nails done. I like eating them.
Yeah.
I don't need my hair done. I just get the dog to just
Yeah.
bite it all off.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are in the high street I really don't need.
Yeah.
Like the charity. There's a shop here in the high street that sells exclusive men's suits and tailored leather shoes. I mean, they're proper expensive.
Yeah.
But I've never seen anyone in there.
Yeah.
When I walk the dog past the shop, it's always empty, and it does worry me to sort of think, how long can people carry on like that? How will local small retailers afford the rents rates on the high street properties? Yeah, that's an awesome problem. That's one of the reasons Starbucks packed up. Because when they left, a lot of people in West Wickham said, "Why'd they go?" That everyone was, it was always busy. Apparently, the shop rent alone was £7,000 a month. That's a shitload of coffee you got to sell to pay the rent.
Put in the rates, all the staff that are in there, you've got to be selling a lot. So a lot of food retailers.
What's a cup of coffee? £3? Yeah, thereabouts. £3. That's a lot of coffee you got to shift every month. No, I'm not doing maths at this time of night. You do it.
A lot.
That's a lot of people staying awake just to keep the store running.
Yeah, and they'll have huge peaks. So they'll have a peak before work, peak at lunch, peak after work. Maybe, I don't know if coffee.
Yeah, you get the sort of the mums going in with their kids, having their mothers' meetings in there.
But a lot of the shops will have like a 2-hour window where people are getting their lunch or that sort of thing. So
in the morning it's probably manic, and then people trying to stay awake long enough to make it home to go in the evening.
And obviously, something I'll cover later is how to maximise that period. If you're basically twiddling your thumbs at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday, make the most of that.
Okay, so that's pretty much some pretty useful stats actually on the way things are going online at the moment.
I've got plenty more. We'll put them in the show notes.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to know more of the stats, then we can sit here and ramble them all night long. Johan's come back. Hey, hi Johan. Good to have you online again. He says the best high street in a small town is in Dunkeld, Scotland. It's a small local business, it's just a co-op as far as big brands are concerned. We happen to represent 80% of them. Awesome. Yeah, I would imagine somewhere places that are a lot further out, like places in Devon, Scotland, and Wales, they probably don't have the same problems that places like London and Birmingham, Manchester do. The bigger brands probably aren't that interested because there's not that many people there to make money.
There's probably loads of places to park.
There's plenty of parking, yeah. And people there they don't want to travel 2 hours into a city to go to work.
Yeah.
So they're more inclined to have their own stores and provide for their own neighbourhoods. Better late than never. Hi Helen, good to have you on. Wonderful to have you join us for the show. So we were just talking about some stats and stuff on the UK retail stuff, and I say stuff, it's his area of expertise really. So given that retailers are struggling so much, and given their shopping habits, one of the things that Tim said to me the other day, and this piqued my interest because I didn't even know about it. He mentioned something about something called bid, and if you're a retailer, this is something I feel that you guys should really know about because I didn't have a clue about this. I've heard of it before, didn't really understand it, didn't really look it up. I had no interest in sort of the retail side of things, and like we were saying with the shape and what the high streets look like these days, my high street looks very different to Beckenham. Beckenham's high street is very varied. There's a wild variety of stuff down in Beckenham, and every time I've been through Beckenham, it's ram packed. No matter what time I go through there, it's crazy busy. So, what is bid? For anyone who's a retailer or thinking about retail or knows a retailer, tell us a little bit about what bid is and how it can actually affect the picture and the shape and layout of a high street.
Yeah, so going back 10, 20 years, the council was responsible for the upkeep and the general interest of the collective high street. I can't remember how long ago, but essentially there is an initiative called Business Improvement Districts, where essentially the council offload this decision and the upkeep to a collective. So they basically have a ballot and they have a...
is that like a committee of businesses?
The bid will usually be made out of people that are part of they will have a retail shop there,
Okay.
and then they'll have a full-time manager.
Yeah.
So
the retailers form like a committee-ish type thing.
Yeah, so there'll probably be board members that from various different of the retailers, but then they'll have someone that's a full-time, and then also have some volunteers and stuff like that.
Awesome.
But essentially, these guys are responsible for the collective decisions. So it could be major things like parking or roadworks or bits and pieces, but essentially they're there for the best interests of the collective. So every
You've been watching Star Trek, haven't you?
I've never seen Star Trek.
He likes the word collective.
What does that mean in Star Trek world?
Star Trek fans will understand that.
Okay.
He's going to go and watch Star Trek now after he's seen this to figure that out. You're not missing much. It's just a sci-fi term, the Borg collective.
Ah.
Sci-fi fans will know. But yeah, business rates have been very harsh on it. They have indeed, Robin. Business rates are absolutely crippling people. Some say it's down to greedy landlords. Some say it's just down to constant inflation and things going up.
Yeah.
But yeah, the business rates are absolutely killing people. It's so expensive.
So the bid collects a levy, and the levy is based on your rates, so your rent. And so the smaller places will pay a smaller levy. If you've got Tesco's, they'll pay a much bigger one.
I hope so.
And so essentially, they all pay into a pot, and then the bid does things.
So what do they do with that money? So if you're part of a bid, let's say you're a retailer in Beckenham High Street, and you're paying into a bid. Is it a bid scheme? Is that the right term? Or is it just called a bid?
Business Improvement District is just short to bid.
Cool. So you're paying into this bid pot.
Yeah.
What is that money for?
So they have an AGM. They have regular drop-in sessions and stuff like that. So you get your say as a retailer to come in and say that I'm worried about parking. I'm worried about the litter is not good, or the experience.
Are the bids still around? Susan says, yeah, they are actually.
So they're increasing.
They're
rapidly increasing. So I think there are about 400 bids in the UK. Don't quote me on that, but it's in that sort of ballpark.
That's quite a lot.
So most high streets will have a bid. If they haven't, then they're balloting people to bring them together.
But aside from what the bid is for and what it does, if I was paying into that bid, and I apologise for asking the same question twice, I'm starting to feel like Jeremy Paxman now. Answer the question already, man. If I was paying into a bid as a retailer, where would that money go? What would it actually be spent on?
So, for example, I know
because it sounds like another tax, doesn't it? In some retailers might see it as that.
So I think some do, yeah. I think so. In Orpington, the first thing that springs to my mind is they put plants all the way down the high street.
Okay.
So like big pots and just
so is that not a council funded thing?
No, so it's now the bid. The council doesn't do it. And then the bid also pays for the Christmas lights, if there's events and stuff like that, they'll do the policing and the setting up of events.
It pays for stuff like that too.
All kinds of things.
So like in West Wickham, every Christmas they have like a Christmas high street fair.
Yeah. So that'll be done by the bid.
Right.
So
so maybe there is a bid in West Wickham.
Well, if they have a bid, it will be the bid. So I don't know.
I know they have pots on all the counters saying donate towards the Christmas lights, and then the retailers sort of get together and just sort of make things happen. I don't know if there is a bid or not, but I doubt it given the state of the shops that are up there.
As far as because I met someone I think that was trying to put a bid together for West Wickham. I'm a bit hazy about that, so don't quote me about West Wickham specifically. But
landlords with big empty properties need to convert the properties into smaller sections so that smaller businesses can take the space and be under the rates relief. Yeah, exactly. Excellent point, Johan. There's a lot of big empty properties out there. And I think a lot of retailers are scared of taking on that responsibility because it's a big ask.
Yeah.
And the rents are massive.
Yeah.
When you look at when I found out what Starbucks were paying, I was like, how much for coffee? That's nuts.
Yeah.
And I mean, all right, the store's a fair size, but really, $7,000 a month? That was just insane.
Yeah.
Shame too, because I like Starbucks.
Yeah.
But other coffee retailers are available. So if that's how bid works, then. Tell us a little, because I'm conscious of the time as well. I don't really want to keep Tim awake all night. Poor sod's been working hard all day. What other things can retailers do collaboratively?
Yeah.
So bid is a sort of collaboration, isn't it? Where all the retailers come together and do.
Yeah.
They sort of gang up, if you like, on the community and say, here's how we want to make it better.
So you would have thought so, but from my
It
experience,
sounds like it is.
yeah. But things like the AGMs and stuff like that, if there are say 400 retailers, the AGM might have 5 or 6 people turn up.
Is that it?
That's my experience so far.
Christ.
And you just think, well,
Don't the others care?
So, one of my notes was apathy is a killer. If you're going to moan about something, make it productive. Go and say, well, I don't like this, so change it.
Yeah.
Or try something new. I know there's all those phrases about being a busy fool and stuff like that. I don't want to say that anyone's a fool, but time can be spent.
Yeah, you can spend all day moaning and complaining and bitching about stuff, but unless you're going to get off your backside and go and do something about it, shut the hell up or make a change.
Yeah. And I
Just
think,
like Pete said earlier, there's a lot of people out there who are not changing and like Pete said, they're not proactive. They're not doing anything to make the place better. And they're probably all the people who are sitting around going, "Oh, this sucks. This high street's rubbish. I can't sell anything down here."
Yeah.
Or they're complaining about things, but they're not the sort of people who are going to get off their backsides and say, "You know what? Why don't I find a way of working with the shop guy next door and coming up with something awesome?"
Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons why I wanted Tim on the show, because Tim's done something amazing called Streetpin.com. And I want to give Tim the chance to explain it to you because it's really, really good. And this is where, if you're a retailer or you want to become one, you can, I'll give him the mouse in a sec. Let's show you, let's close this one here. Let's show you Streetpin. So this is Streetpin.
Cool.
I'm going to let Tim tell you all about it because it's a collaborative thing with retailers. What's Pete saying? If Starbucks moves out of an area due to operation costs, something is really wrong as they make upward of 90%. Yeah, indeed. If Starbucks goes, then you've got problems. When Starbucks opened in West Wickham, everyone was like, "Hey, cool!" Because it's recognised as a global brand. It's it's uplifting for the high street. A lot of retailers probably thought, "Happy days, things are improving." But when they went, probably a lot of people are like, "Oh God, we're doomed."
Reminds me of I was in China in a place where there were no Westerners. 20 years ago, I was working out there, and essentially one of the McDonald's franchise opened up there, and there was just High Street was just absolutely rammed. There was queues for round the block just trying to get a burger. Anyway, so
retail in China is nuts, right?
it can be.
There's shops everywhere. There's no empty shops aren't a thing out there, are they? So much.
There's a lot of people there.
Yeah, true.
I'm going to do a very quick overview of Streetpin. I know that some people are probably just listening on audio, so I'll try and work a little bit
through
this.
For those of you who are listening on the podcast at the moment, Tim's website is streetpin.com, and it is basically a collaboration for local retailers to put offers together and to showcase their offers live, right?
Everything's live.
So if you're a retailer, you can say, right, you know what, today here's what we've got going on.
Yeah.
Put it up there and everyone else in your neighbourhood can find it and see it.
Yeah. So, as in, we are.
This is where all the podcasters are going to fall asleep now.
No,
I can't see what he's doing.
I'll keep it sort of.
Use your imaginations.
Audio as well.
Yeah.
So one of the things I have learned recently is never do a live demo. So we've just got a couple of screens open. So if you type in streetpin.com, you'll see a screen that just has a little pop-up. If you click on
Bring your mouse
Get
over
Started. Oh, right.
Yeah.
If you say Get Started, then essentially what it will zoom into, as long as you let us, it will zoom into your current location. So wherever you are in the world, it will zoom into where you are. So this example here shows where Rich and I are sitting at the moment. Underneath the map will show, it will extrapolate all the offers and posts from anything around the area. So if you scroll the map and go over to Beckenham, you'll see something different to if you were in West Wickham. Yeah,
because this little. Why am I pointing at the screen? No, the podcasters are like, why is it gone quiet? He's pointing at the screen. Yeah, so the little arrow that you see at the top of the screen, there's like a letterbox view of the map.
Yeah.
If you was to click that arrow, all the offers would drop down, and it lets you move the map around like you would on Google Maps, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So you can just grab the map and just move it about and see what's where.
Yeah.
And as you do that, things change on the screen, don't they?
It does. So yeah,
it's pretty interactive, actually.
And so we also have a Find Me box. So essentially, this is something that if you're walking down the high street and it starts to rain, you can put Find Me an umbrella. So it could be that you know that Boots sells umbrellas, but you didn't know that Dave's Hardware around the corner sells umbrellas. So it's that sort of thing. You can find live offers and live conversations. It may be that you're really into your model aircrafts, so you could just put in model aircraft. And it may be that someone round the corner, round about the Wesh area, was talking about model aircrafts or something like that. You can join the conversation, stuff that you wouldn't find normally. If you click on the pin, so we have pins identifying what the category is all over the.
That's handy because it's called Streetpin, isn't it?
That's
a pin in the street.
I never thought of that.
It's almost like someone put some thought into that.
I doubt it. So you click on that and you'll see. So this is just a very quick mock-up that I did for Wesh. So all of this is basically a little mini website that people can set up really quickly.
So everyone gets like a micro homepage.
They do, and,
awesome.
And this is it's really tailored for the
retailored.
It's retailored.
What's in your water? It's not a bottle.
Just vodka.
It's not vodka, right?
Yeah. So essentially, this you can tailor the fonts, the colours, but this is it's really for today's audience where very short attention spans. It's like 5 to 8 seconds or something like that. If you
what was that you said?
5 to 8 seconds. And so this is snippets of conversations that you can start, little offers, and one of the things we're really trying to really benefit for the high street is really reducing disposals, reducing things that are, say, perishables. So anything from your flowers or your butchers, your bakers,
this could be quite useful for a lot of the food stores that are already now dominating the high streets.
Very much. So
to cut down on waste, right?
Really something that is really a big passion of ours in terms of if we can make
food?
a difference, food, but also wastage.
Yeah.
In terms of these.
Oh, we love wasting stuff. Just sling it out. Don't even use it. Just buy it, throw it away.
So we should be, if it's raining or there's low footfall or something like that. If you're not if at 5 o'clock, if you have to pay to dispose of all your sandwiches or your artisan bread or all these lovely flowers and stuff like that.
Actually, yeah, retailers have to pay a lot of money to put their business waste out, don't they?
They do. So
I didn't even think of that.
Not only are you not getting the sale, but you're paying to throw it away.
To throw away the stuff that you can't make money on.
And also the green factor is something that my wife is always on about in terms of disposable.
Is that why it's all green?
Yes, it's actually green because I'm colourblind, and that's one of the colours that really stands out for me.
He actually said it was red, and I just went, yeah, that's red. That's absolutely what red looks like.
It's cruel to mock colourblind people. So this is basically, it has all the stuff that you have in your directory. So it has your intro, your phone number, your contact details, when you're open, all the stuff that you find on a static directory.
So yeah, a micro site, if you like, for each business that's on there.
It's just designed for people that don't really do digital to be able to get online really simply, really quickly. There's a free version.
So
that's
like the model,
free.
like the model shop in Bromley,
they could literally just
don't really have the resources or maybe the manpower to.
It should take you
put
5
a website
minutes
together. They can actually use this and say, well, actually,
that's
we can have our own. And they can, because they sell a lot of second-hand models, right? And some of the models they sell are awesome. People have spent years building something, too scared to fly, put it up for sale. And if you look at what's hanging from the ceiling in that model shop, some of the models are amazing.
Yeah.
So I guess, could that be an ideal scenario where they could come along and go, you know what, this model, the guy wants a couple of $100 for it, and I don't know how else to advertise it. Yeah, could they use that as a shining example to sell model airplanes?
Well, I call it the point and click. So in terms of people that don't really get digital, they have a phone. They use it for
old people
and very young people, like my daughter.
No, I'm joking.
Putting stuff on Instagram or whatever.
Yeah.
And so everyone's very used to just doing that. So it's like my tomatoes are going out of date tomorrow. I can't sell them, so I just literally point, click, upload it, and put an offer on. So half price.
So you can do all this from your phone, right?
Do everything from your phone. It's
awesome.
We've actually tailored it to be mobile first.
Yeah. So you don't need a whole computer setup to do all this.
No,
it's fancy cameras. You just click, post, done.
Absolutely.
Cool.
And you can come back to it later and put your logo on or anything like that. But you should be able to set up.
The simplicity is key, right?
It really is, because it's there are
because there's normally an app for everything these days, isn't there? And if it's making people lazy as well. If there isn't an app for it, people are I can't be bothered.
We will have an app, but our first goal was to make this. We did start off with an app, and we did lots of tests and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And because of our real community focus, you can't have an app that's based on what device you have. You can't have a community that's basically saying you can only be part of our community if you have an iPhone or if you have an Android. So we went for absolute frictionless web to begin with, and that's where we are.
Cool.
So this is a complete standalone website.
What does it cost for a retailer to get on it? Because I think you said earlier that it doesn't cost a penny to get on it, does it?
So absolutely, there is a free version. So you can set this up, and
it's like a lot of these good top of the line directories, isn't it? Where there's a free bit and an upgradey bit.
Yeah. So freemium. Yeah. So in terms of what what you can see here is you can make this all for free. You can either have completely free and then you pay to advertise on it, or you can just pay for £10 a month. In terms of we tested that price point with a lot of people, and apart from Rich, everyone said that was really cheap. But
only because of most of what I do it involves a lot of online directories, and some of them are quite niche as well.
But we're trying to be
in the retail space. Because a lot of the stuff I do isn't in the retail space, so my retail knowledge is I could write it on the top of this, bottom of this bottle. But I'd imagine if you took something like, let's say, your greengrocers or a small food shop, what it cost them to get rid of a load of food at the end of a day would probably be more than the cost of what it would cost them to use that for a month, right?
Yeah. So it's in terms
commercial disposal is not cheap, is it? Like for commercial rubbish,
it's really not. But in terms of what they're using at the moment, they pay £200 for leaflets, which people don't pick up anymore, or they pay £150 for an ad in a newspaper, or the leaflets that sort of go in as inserts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just it's they're paying for outdated.
Yeah, we get a lot of that stuff around here.
And
leaflets.
It goes straight in the recycling. So just moving on. So this is what we call a standalone website. This is an example.
This is the fun bit. This is what Tim was showing me earlier. I won't take so long to get to this. So this is Beckenham High Street.
This is,
as you can see.
Beckenham High Street.
This bit's Beckenham High Street.
So for the podcasters, we're looking at a map with lots of different pins on it. So we have the swirling Beckenham High Street Road.
Imagine Google Maps without all the fluff on it that you normally see on Google Maps, but just an absolute ton of green pins that say, here's all the retailers in your area and here's what they've got to offer. So if you want an afternoon out shopping, you can go, right. I'm looking at this one of Beckenham High Street, there must be at least 20 pins on the screen, right?
Yeah.
15, 20 pins on it straight away. And for a website like Streetpin that has... How long's Streetpin been going now?
It's difficult to say, really, in terms of... We launched this version in July, but we were evolving it, so we've got another couple of releases in the next month or so before we probably say, right, that's properly there now.
Yeah. So if you consider, you've been going, 8 months-ish?
On this version, yeah.
So you've been going 8 months, right? And the amount of retailers that I've already seen just in this sort of area, Beckenham, Bromley, Orpington and so on.
We're doing a push in Beckenham at the moment, so I'm spending Saturday walking up and down the high street, just going in and trying to get...
there's a hurricane Saturday, right?
That'll be me.
So that's what that was. It's not a hurricane, it's him running up and down the high street.
It is.
So considering how long this has been, the short space of time this has been going for, it's awesome to see the amount of retailers have obviously seen the benefit of this and gone, actually, you know what, this can actually be really beneficial. They're starting to see the power of working together.
Well, this is what I'm pushing at the moment. So I've created most of these, and so I'm going out and helping people use them. So podcasters, again, we're looking at a map with lots of different.
Tim, how do you encourage consumers to use Streetpin? That's a good question, Pete. Actually, that is a good question.
If I could just finish my next screen.
No, answer the man. He wants to know.
So, in terms of the consumers themselves, what we're doing is empowering each retailers to be able to create their own entity, their own community. We provide them with point of sale materials, so struck cards that sit on the till, window stickers, leaflets for how-tos, that sort of thing. So point of sale materials. But we're also working in conjunction with the bids. with other groups, so Jackie's BBA group, with various other entities in there. So it's all about the collaboration and being able to utilise each person's network.
So are you giving retailers stationery and stuff that they can use to advertise to their customers? That must be costing you a little penny, right?
So
so I can see now why there needs to be a monthly charge, because obviously in the same way a retailer that takes Mastercard send them loads of stuff like stickers and adverts, all stuff to put over their shop. So in the same way, I guess to answer Pete's question, it's the retailer's responsibility to get their customers involved with their side of Streetpin, but you provide them everything they need to help them do that, right?
There's definitely a degree of
sense?
that. It does, yeah. And so we do empower people to be able to use their reach and their network. And then what we do on this next screen, so this is what we call an instant shopping directory.
Ooh, wine tasting.
So there is, just for example, if you're watching this is.
If you're on the podcast, he's just scrolling down a page now. This is a really boring bit.
So this is really exciting.
I guess if several people sign up, it will filter and encourage others. Yeah, like a domino effect, exactly. Because if you get, so let's say you get 1 in 5 retailers down Beckenham High Street signing up to this. The other 4 are going to see it. Well, you hope they would.
Well, very much so.
And they'd be like, well, hang on, what's that?
Yeah.
And then it'll start to grow.
And it's literally, if a shopper's walking down the street and any one of the shops catches their eye and says, just type in streetpin.com, zoom in, and for the first time they can actually search for something live in the high street. They can follow each pinboard that they want to follow.
That burger on the screen looks way better than we had at the Crayford Dog Track last night.
I should hope so.
Way nicer. Probably still be alive after eating it as well. But what about sandwich boards outside the shops? Because I can imagine that would. And this idea just struck me. If you had a sandwich board outside a shop that says "We're on Streetpin, come and find our offers here," other retailers would see that in a heartbeat, right? They'd see that real quick.
They'll also notice the window stickers and stuff like that. So it'll be, because as a retailer, they're always looking at what else is going on.
As long as it's not on newsagent, because their windows are covered in stickers.
True. So the ones that aren't covered, you'll notice. But if you're in one of the services, so hairdressers, nails, makeup and stuff like that, you're there for a long time. And if people are sort of saying, well, actually, did you know you could actually come in at 3 o'clock when we're quieter and you can get a deal? Or
I'd imagine a lot of retailers, especially service places, they might be interested in offering, taking a few quid less is better than taking no quids during quiet times. Yeah.
So being able to give that fluctuation and give the power to each of these retailers. But my point that I really want to emphasise is the collaboration. So every time you promote yourself, you're also promoting everyone else around you. It's that
big thing of working together. And like I said earlier, if I did this show on my own, I'd get a cease and desist order from YouTube saying, "Look, this is just boring as hell. Stop it." But when I have wonderful people like Tim and Robin on the show, it actually becomes funny and informative at the same time. And it's almost like having the power of 3 or 4 people producing something that's actually quite informative. Peter's on your case tonight, mate. He says, does Streetpin collect consumer data alongside the location data?
So we, at the moment, sorry, excuse me. What we collect is absolute minimal. We collect email and user login, and that's to create an account.
That's for the retailers, though, right?
Oh, sorry, what was the
He's
question?
asking about consumer data. So if Pete was to use Streetpin as a customer and just pop it up on his phone and say, right, I want to know what's going on my high street, how much information of Pete's is going to be collected by Streetpin? Because from what I can see, it's just literally the location. So where are you, so that I can tell you what's on locally?
So, Pete, all your stuff will be private. The retailer will get some analytics in terms of how many people have visited the site, whether you're unique or whether you're a returning visitor, and they'll also get analytics for how many posts, how many offers, how many replies, how many likes. All of that is just anonymous data, so no one will see Pete has done this or anything like that. It's just a traffic.
Can customers register on here as well?
Yeah, of course.
So if I wanted to know what was going on in Beckenham, I can register on here and
so you don't need to register at all.
I don't.
So to go to look at Beckenham, type in streetpin.com. If you're in Beckenham, zooms into where you are.
Yeah.
If you're not in Beckenham, type in Beckenham or type in
the search box.
the search box, and that will zoom into wherever you are.
Okay.
Use everything without logging in. You only need to log in if you want to reply or if you want to add content.
Right.
We just don't want any anonymous content
Sort of thing a seller would do.
So,
like a retailer or someone with something to offer.
But yeah, if you're just looking for what's going on in any town, you don't need to sign in.
I do like the fact that from the consumer's perspective, the only thing it's asking you for is, where are you? What do you want me to show you, based on where you are?
Yep.
So that's good. Hopefully that answered that for you, Pete, because I can imagine someone like Pete being a photographer. This would be an awesome way for people to work out. Pete might have some quiet times when he's not actually doing any photography work, when he could actually say, you know what, it turns out every week on a Thursday afternoon I'm not really doing very much, and he might want to just slap some offers up there and say, hey, you know what,
Thursday, studio day.
Yeah, come into the studio and have your headshot done for 20, 30, 40 quid or whatever they cost. I don't know.
Absolutely, exactly.
Is Streetpin just Beckenham or elsewhere? No, it's not just Beckenham or elsewhere. Not at the moment.
So, Streetpin is just anywhere. The power is when there are lots of things working together. So, if you're in House of Hebrides and you want to create a pinboard, you literally, after you've logged in, go to My Pinboards, create a pinboard, and you can create one wherever you are. You can create one on top of Ben Nevis if you want.
Not much to buy up there, right?
No, but not much to buy. But if you've got a pinboard there that everyone
I came all the way to the top of this mountain, there's nothing here. Shame on you.
But people walk up there and then say, hey, here's me. Take a selfie. People are talking about that. If lots of people are talking about that, then Cotswolds hiking people would say, right, I'd love to put an offer on there.
Good point. Yeah, good point. But yeah, I do like the fact that you could buy snow. Yeah, I could probably sell some snow to the mountaineers. I can manage that.
You could probably do it in Australia a few months ago. But,
just sell sand to the Australians, But the other thing, one of the things I do like about Streetpin that struck me was that it doesn't require the local shoppers to do anything.
No.
Just look at it and work it out what you want and where. So you haven't got to start registering and logging in. It's just none of that mess, right? Mm-hmm. So that's pretty cool. And I'm very conscious of the time as well because we've been going for an hour now. So that's pretty much, hopefully, a really good overview of Streetpin and some compelling information on the fact that actually, if you're a retailer, you need to start working together. Because no retailer on their own is ever going to be as strong as two or more working together.
Yeah.
And the power is in the group, not in the individual.
Yeah.
And all those wonderful motivational things that I read online earlier today.
It's true.
But
if you're gonna have a chance against online behemoths, work together, and you've got a really, really good vantage point.
Yeah, exactly. So if you could give any retailers any tips, any advice or anything for them to, what would be your top tip if you could nail one magic tip that you would give to every retailer everywhere? What would you say?
I'd say it's about the experience. The way that you can really win against online is to say, it's I'm here. I have the knowledge. I have the products. Try it on, smell things, taste things. Come and be part of it. Be part of my community. Interact. Be a sort of
like Susan says, as VA say, collaboration, not competition.
Yeah. So if I could say two, one is the experience and one is the collaboration.
What's another one? Oh my God.
Experience, collaboration. Yeah.
I would say out of all of your tips that you've written down, I would say the collaboration is going to be the strongest one, because, and I don't know if you've noticed this, that PC World are doing this as well now. The PC World Curries, whatever. What do they call themselves now? PC World Curries. Is that it? You go into a PC World Curries now. Apologies, PC World, if you're not called PC World Curries. I don't look up at the sign when I walk in their store. But you go in there now, and you've got all of your typical old, and some of you will remember this, your Dixon's High Street electrical shop. You've got some of that stuff in the corner. Mm-hmm. You've got your gaming stuff and your Xboxing. You've got your Apple Store stuff in there. And you've got your toasters and microwaves and your fridges. You've got everything in there. And if you like, because they were all owned by one global brand, the DSG group, they could sort of take that collaboration and say, well, yeah, actually, you know what, all the Dixon stores closed, but they didn't close. They just moved them into their other stores. So it became a collaboration of stores already owned by the same group. Now, if retailers in the high street wise up and start doing this, well, I don't know why they haven't, because there's so many that just, no, that's my store, that's your store over there, you go and do your thing.
Yeah.
And it's dividing them, and it's costing them dearly because they're not working together. So of all of the tips really, of what Tim's written down, I would say the collaboration is the strongest one ever. Nigel, have you just joined us, Nigel, at this time at 9 o'clock and you've just come in, or are you just saying hello now? I would have thought you'd have said hi earlier. Hello mate, hope it's all going well. Yeah, loads of smiley faces. Night guys, interesting broadcast. Thanks for coming along, Pete. Wonderful to have you along. We're just literally wrapping up, and then hopefully we're going to let everyone go off to bed. So of Tim's tips, literally I would say that it's all about the collaboration. And moving on to the answer of the day, the question we asked earlier, do you remember how many stores closed down in 2019? The answer, what was the answer, Tim?
We saw a couple of different ones,
figure it out to be
ranging between 5,000 and 6,000.
Yeah, it was literally, some said 5, some said 6,100 and something. So over 5,000 stores in 2019 closed down. It's absolutely shocking number of stores. So I'd like to thank everyone for coming along tonight and joining in on the live chat. It was wonderful to have you all, especially some of you only been back once or twice. I'd especially like to thank Tim for coming in tonight.
Thank you.
I know he's had a long day at work, working very hard. And it's wonderful to have. Hopefully he'll come back again sometime and chat about more retail stuff, and hopefully, as people come on the show regularly, we can build up a knowledge base of actually ways to help retailers and some of the more interesting things we can do to help them.
Sounds good.
And if you've got any comments and questions about anything we've covered in tonight's show, leave it in the comments below. But before you go, hit the subscribe button below. Oh, that rhymes. I like that. Before you go, subscribe below. And we will see you guys again next week, next week I've got Gareth Walsh coming in. So we've got an ex-Forces person who started his own business. And that's going to be a wonderful show, because we're going to find out if you're ex-Forces or you're looking to start your own business in that respect. He's hopefully going to tell us all about how he did it and all the struggles he had and what he overcame to get his business going, because things are going nuts for him. He's literally crazy busy, and he's excellent at what he does. So if you're ex-Forces, or you know anyone who's ex-Forces, or who might be leaving the Forces soon, next week's show is going to be for them. That will be the show to watch, because this guy that's coming is he's like a dynamo. He's literally like a Duracell bunny. So I'm a bit afraid of having him around, because he's really energetic. So tune in next week when we'll be talking to Gareth Walsh, or is it Welsh? He's going to kill me if I get it wrong. He won't clean the windows ever again.
Let's go with Gareth.
Yeah, Gareth's coming in, and we'll be having a chat with him about starting your own business and all the things that he had to overcome. So thanks for joining us, folks. Wonderful to have you along, and we'll see you again this time next week, 8 o'clock sharp. Don't be late, especially you, Nigel. Thanks again, guys. Cheers. Wonderful having you. Welsh, there you go. Welsh. I knew I was all right. I knew I got it wrong.
In the ballpark.
Walsh, Welsh. Yeah, I was roughly right. So have a great night, have a great week, and see you all again next week. Till then, tuddy tar.
Cheers.
Let's mute that. The mouse's in the wrong place.